Hi, this is Mitch from Break-Thru Active, and today I have with us one of our fantastic members, Edwina. So welcome, Edwina. Thanks for taking some time to spend it with me.
That's my pleasure. Thank you.
Cool.
Thanks, Mitch.
You've just finished up your day at work, so I'll try not to keep you too long in your office there. I'm sure you're ready and raring to get home, but just wanted to get you on for a couple of reasons. But one of the things that I didn't want to ask before we got started, or what I wanted to make note of, was you have a couple of secret talents that maybe some of the other members don't know about. I don't know how secret they are because you have told a few people, but tell us a little bit about your touch football career as a younger lady.
Oh, well, actually, oh gosh, I didn't think you were going to ask me that sort of stuff.
Surprise.
Oh, yeah, big surprise. Yeah, I didn't start playing touch until I went to uni, so I was sort of in my early 20s, and it's just something I really fell in love with, and got the opportunity to, to play in a few sort of high level teams, and I think probably the highlight, I guess, was I got to play in a World Cup back last century, actually,
Last
back in
millennium.
1999. So I had the opportunity I represented England, by the way. So the
Ah,
Australian team was pretty good, but we did all right, and it was just heaps of fun. So yeah,
yeah.
lots of happy memories playing touch football. Such a great team sport.
So if we were to ever have a touch football team, would you be open to maybe making a comeback?
Or I might be too old now, but unless you get, hurt people over a certain age get extra points for
Yeah, there
tries,
you
then
go.
yeah, I'll be up
I
for
think
that.
that might be fair. And
Yeah.
the other one, a very sporty junior from the sounds of it, was got a bit of a golfing career as well. So I think you've told me before, because I'm a golfer, so we've chatted
Yes.
a bit about golf in the past, but you got down to, I think, a 3 handicap. Was that right?
Yeah, when I was 16, I was playing off three. So
Yeah, good.
yeah, like as an adult looking back, you kind of think, well, why did I stop playing? But it certainly that was probably my first sort of real go at having playing sport in that at that sort of level. And yeah, again, I got to sort of play in many some really good amateur tournaments sort
Yeah,
of around New South Wales and Australia, and even got to go to Japan and New Zealand to
excellent.
represent Australia a couple of times. So yeah,
It's
again, just a really good experience and good opportunities.
Yeah, I never made it on a national level or anywhere close to that, but it was a great way for me to see New South Wales. I went to lots of places around that I never would have gone and still haven't gone back to, but they were, beautiful places. But for you to see some of the other parts of the world, it would have been cool to see Japan and
Yeah,
spend some time,
yeah,
all over.
absolutely. I mean, the Japanese, as you know, they're just crazy for their golf, and
Yeah.
wow, they do it really well. But going back to some of the regional New South Wales places you used to go to, playing on sand-based greens, and then I remember playing in another tournament where it was in the Blue Mountains, and I'd never played the course before, and it was all fogged out, and you couldn't even see where you were
Yeah,
playing, and it's
that
like
actually, funny you say that. That happened to me in the Blue Mountains once. We're playing at Blackheath, I think the course was called.
mhm,
And
yep.
yeah, we stopped after it was probably about an hour of play because you couldn't see 10 meters in front of you. So they had to
Well, we
call it.
weren't allowed to stop. We had to play.
Oh, did you? Jeez, they
Yeah.
read them
I,
fast
I, I
back
said, how
then.
long do we wait until the fog clears? I said, oh no, you don't. Off you go.
Keep playing. Hitting hope.
Pretty much.
Very good. Well, I want to transition into talking a little bit more about your time with us. You
Mhm.
were in a bit of a unique situation when you got started with us because if my memory serves me correctly, it was back during our first lockdown when we were running sessions outdoors in probably
Yes.
must have been April or May last year,
Yeah, I think it was. Hmm.
2020. And you just
Yep.
moved here from Sydney, is that right?
Yes. Yeah. We moved up at the start of the school year, so I think it was about January we finally got everything up from Sydney, and so we got ready for the start of the school year. So yeah, by the time I sort of got myself organised, it was I know we were sort of in the lockdown, of course, as well.
Yeah.
So it took a while before I found a spot to actually
Yeah.
start back exercising again.
Good. And then between then and now, and I'll talk a little bit more about the specifics, but you have made it to be our most highly attended member and have just actually ticked over 400 visits, which is
Hmm.
fairly incredible considering it has been, what, 18 months and 2 lockdowns later, so, or 1.5 lockdowns probably,
Yeah.
but it's been a great 18 months. But for you, when you started out with us at that period, we were running outdoor sessions and you were a little more inclined to want to be doing the outdoor stuff because that's what you had done in the past. And I remember a few of our initial conversations, you were a little bit hesitant about when we were going to be reopening in the gym inside because you hadn't really done some of the weights before and just hadn't really been in that environment before. So what have you liked about it since you started? Because from going from someone who hasn't really done that, obviously you've been very sporty and been, active your whole life, but never really done the whole gym bit. What have you liked about it since you've started the last year and a half of this?
I think certainly I was, as you're right, I was really reluctant. I really loved the boot camp, and I was doing boot camp in Sydney, and that was my goal, was to find another place up here where I could do boot camp. And a friend, actually a niece, sort of had friends in your club, and so I got the recommendation, and they said that they're doing boot camp, but they also did say that I think when they go out of lockdown they're not going to do boot camp anymore. It's going to be quite different. So I still thought, well, I'll still give it a go, and see how things sort of pan out. But I think then for me, what I sort of started to realise was how important it was now to start building some strength, sort of at the stage of my life that I'm at. I thought it's something I'd never done before. I'd never done weights, and I wasn't quite sure what it would all be like. But I thought, I'll give. I wasn't sort of feeling like trying to find another place as well, because you look at things on the internet, and the different sorts of things that are out there. Where do you start, so to speak? So I thought I'd much rather give this a bit of a go. I was enjoying what I was doing, and I was happy to try something new.
Yeah, good. And you come from a little bit of a different background. A lot of the time when people are starting with us, they haven't really done any sort of group training before. They might have done a little bit here and there in their early years, but kind of gone on the wayside. But for you to be transitioning straight from pretty much from another program through to us, you had a bit of a different, outlook on everything. But you're 100% right. I think strength training can sometimes be misconceived for people, or misperceived, I should say, where they think that it is super heavy weights and, you're going to get big and bulky, and not to say you thought of that, but I guess as long as we are doing it in a safe manner and we are doing it the right way and doing it the right weights, it's not really as scary or as daunting as it seems. And
no, it's not.
Yeah, and as we do start to get a little bit older, it does become a little more important because we need to keep those bones strong and keep that lean muscle as sort of strong as we can. And you were a fast learner. I remember we had a couple of aches and pains with certain exercises early on, but it didn't take you long to sort of pick it all up. But it can be a little bit scary moving somewhere new as well. Everything's new. You wouldn't have really known your way around, but I guess what you've definitely found now is you've got a really good community of people there and a really good network. So I wanted to chat about that a little bit. I know you've made some really good friends, and I just want to know how much that has kind of helped you stay motivated and have you turn up, like I said, just about every day.
Look, I think without a doubt, and to be honest, that was another thing that when I chose Break-Thru, that they did the friends did say it's a really lovely community, and it's not something I was actively really looking for, I guess, at that stage. For me, it was just I just want to find a place that I can keep exercising and the like. But it's really become such a bonus to really find that community, because we don't we do have some relatives that live up here, but outside of that we don't have any friends essentially. So for me to have some friends up here, it is just so wonderful, and just people have really accepted me. I know sometimes can be a bit of a stigma, when people say they've come from Sydney. Not everybody likes people coming up from Sydney. So I just think the way that I've been welcomed has been really wonderful. I think even what's even more interesting is sometimes I could be at the shops and I'll see somebody and I'll, that's from, the gym, and it's a quick wave and hello and whatever. And my family are sort of going, oh my gosh, how many people does she know in Newcastle now? So
Well,
it's like, yeah, no, I know lots of people now. So
kind
yeah,
of,
thanks.
you're a big deal in Newcastle.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's
But
just it's so much smaller in that regard, so that you
yeah,
will
for
bump into
sure.
people. You don't need to know too many people to start bumping into them out and about in the community. So it's really lovely.
Yeah, no, and I think for most people, they don't join us or join any sort of fitness facility or gym to sort of branch out their network. There might be some people who do, but for the most part, it is because they are wanting to, get fitter and healthier and stay active, and then they end up staying and enjoying it more because of the people that they're working with, and it's something that we really try hard at and we pride ourselves on, is creating an environment where everyone's welcoming and everyone's friendly and everyone gets along. And,
Yeah.
even for you must have liked it enough to even bring your son down. He's doing some training with us
Yes.
as well. So tell us a little bit about that, because I know there was a little bit of a battle to try to get him in, and he's had a few ups and downs, but he's sort of back at it now with the help of having
Yeah.
another young fella there who's training.
Yeah, I think that's an ongoing challenge, I guess. So he's only 12, so his motivations shift pretty quickly. So yeah, but if I can get him, and it's got to be his decision to come down and do it. And I know that every time he has done it, he has walked away at the end of every single session and said how much he has enjoyed it. So it's just helping him make that connection of how he feels at the end of it. And if he can remember that, then the motivation for him to come down a bit more might get there, sort of thing. So as I said, it's early days, but I haven't given up.
I've said this to you before, where even saying back when I was 12, there's no way I would have been getting up early before school to go to the gym, with my mum or dad. So I do take my hat off to him and your patience with it all, because I know it's probably not the easiest thing, but there's another young guy, Jared, who comes in with his mum Nat, and I think that's been helpful, having both of them there, and they come and have fun, and like you said, when he finishes, he feels good. So hopefully he can make that connection, like you said, a bit more often, and he can stay at it. But some nice bonding for you guys as well. Spend a little
absolutely.
extra time
And
together.
that's right. And just the opportunity to sort of hang out together for an hour or whatever it might be is nice. And absolutely, to have people like Jared down there too, and then his mum, Nat as well, and everybody else. It's fantastic. It is good to watch the younger ones kind of in there having a go as well. Although I must admit, it's hard sometimes to not have your mum hat on and and go and have a word to them. Yeah. I caught him on his mobile phone the other day, but while he was warming up on the bike.
So, there you go. So you had to have a word to him afterwards. That 45 minutes is your time, so you don't need to go into mum
mode. Yeah,
but
I do. I try not to. Yeah, I definitely. I do try very hard to do that. I promise.
So for you, over the last, like you said, you've been with us for 18 months and 400 visits later. What do you think the biggest thing that you've noticed the change in yourself? Because when you came to us, you weren't overweight. You didn't have 30 kilos to lose. You weren't, you hadn't been off training for 5 or 10 years like often when people are joining us. So what's been the biggest difference you've noticed for yourself in the last 18 months, whether it be physical or mental or anything?
Oh, look, I think certainly I can tell. You're right. I don't think I've changed much in body shape or weight or whatever. I've stayed pretty much the same. But I can tell that I can tell that I'm stronger, and by using the app as well to sort of track what sort of weights you might be lifting. I can see that I can still, my goal was not to go backwards, I guess. But I still think I'm still moving forward in terms of being able to still, lockdowns have sort of slowed things up a bit because you kind of go backwards a bit in that regard. But I still feel I can start to, every now and then I'll do one of the particular exercises and the weights are a bit heavier. And I thought, well, that's now my personal best. for today over the time. So I still feel there's still growth in that space as well. So I haven't sort of finished. I don't feel I still want to be able to sort of lift a bit heavier, or and even just transition. And again, this is through the support of some of the other people in the gym as well. So once Katie, for example, she sort of says, once you start lifting a heavier weight, don't go back. So I'm trying to use the 15 kilo ball now, and I've sort of moved up to the 16 kilo goblet. The whatever that's called. Sorry. So that's been really good.
I think it's
I'm trying to sustain that.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head there when you've got other members, whether it is verbally encouraging you, or just when you see one of the other ladies who you work out with regularly who's maybe lifting or goes for a slightly heavier weight, or is trying this certain weight, it does encourage you typically to push yourself a little bit more. And I think that's one of the real bonuses of like the small group training that we have, where everyone knows each other typically, and when you can kind of somewhat compare yourself to other people's strength and things, not in a negative way, but when you see someone who's of a similar fitness level to you and a similar strength level to you, and then you see them pushing themselves a little bit more, it can just give you a little bit of a fire under your butt to do the same.
Yep.
And especially like Katie. She's
like Katie. I think probably something as well that I've really noticed, and I guess it comes from the fact that I've done that number of visits, is I've seen new people come, and they come, and their fitness level may not be the same as myself when they first join, but the number of new members I've seen, start behind me, come up to me, and then go past me, there's been quite a lot. So I guess there's success in others as well, and I can see all that because I've done so many sessions, I guess. So I get really, it's really impressive to see those sorts of people where they start their journey much past when I did, but they've gone ahead guns blazing, and they're lifting heavier and faster and stronger, and and they've left me behind basically. So, but that's all good. I love watching that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and I think that sort of garners what type of people we want involved in the gym. People who are happy for other people's achievements, and they're encouraging, and maybe they are faster than you, or maybe they are stronger than you, and it's not, we can use that to motivate us to want to do better, but we're never in direct competition with someone else. And I think that's a big part of the culture we have, and it's all because of all our members, that they are genuinely happy when someone does well, and when they hit a visit milestone, or when they do something impressive, if they have lost X amount of weight or lifted X amount of weight on the bar or whatever, then everyone else is often quite complimentary. And I think that being part of that group and being part of that sort of team, I think, is, for a lot of people who have done team sport when they were younger, it sort of reignites some of that fire and some of that camaraderie that they've had in the past. So, if people aren't really about that, and they prefer to come in and just do their own thing with headphones in and the rest of it, then they probably end up at their own gym doing their own thing. But natural selection almost, where we've ended up with people who are very like-minded and happy for one another, and I think that's a really great part about it.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think all you have to do is go back to that team event that you had. Oh gosh, it was before the lockdown. Was it back in July or whatever? And just, for those who were at that on that day, that was just the atmosphere on that day was just phenomenal. And the cheering and the excitement from everybody, working as hard as they possibly could. And then everybody pretty much stayed to the end. I think that's a testament to the members that you have encouraged and attracted to your club.
Well, that was sort of one of the first, maybe the first time we've done something like that. So we weren't really sure what sort of reception we were going to get. We didn't know if people would just maybe do their bit and then head off sort of 10 minutes later. But when we had people hanging around all morning and cheering on that last one there, and it felt like it was a footy game or something. The atmosphere was electric. It was unreal, and I didn't even work out. I was just helping it all, and it felt like I worked out I was that highly strung. But that was a really fantastic morning, and we've actually got a couple more of them upcoming next year, so they should be a fun time as well. But we might leave it there for today, Edwina. But for anyone listening, if they either if it is a member who's maybe having a little bit of trouble with motivation, or if it is someone who's maybe listening who isn't currently working out and they're wanting to start, do you have any advice for them? Because obviously, for someone like you, 400 visits and the most attended member, you've got that pretty under control at the moment. So, what would your advice be?
Yeah. Oh, look, I think, and it's what everybody else is sort of saying. You just got to make a start. And for me, it's just part of my routine now. So it didn't take long for it to become easy in that regard. Getting up in the morning and coming each day, it just became quite straightforward. It's almost like having to brush your teeth every day. It just seems that's my routine. And I think if you try in that regard and just start doing it, then it becomes your routine pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think you're right there, and I think it's very much a habit thing. The same way that people develop bad habits, whether it is eating bad food or smoking or whatever it may be, good habits can be formed just as easily through repetition. And that's where we quite often see if someone makes it through the first sort of 1 to 2 months and they are coming regularly, then it tends to stick. And unfortunately, there are times when people, we do a bit of a trial period at the start, and after the first week or two, they kind of realize it's just not happening for them and they move on.
Yeah.
But it is very much a habit thing, and I think we are creatures of habit. So typically you do come same time every morning. There's occasions when you're in the afternoon, but it just becomes part of your day, and I think it becomes a lot easier when you're enjoying what you're doing. I mean, obviously, I write the workouts, and some workouts aren't that fun, but for the most part, we try to make them interactive and fun and very helpful when you've got other people around you who you get along with and you're looking forward to seeing as well.
Yeah, that's it. And sorry, I was just also want to sort of mention too that don't underestimate the mental impact it has as well. So that's another really important reason for coming as well, is that mental health. And if people are sort of will I, won't I, the mental health benefits, they're hard to touch and quantify or qualify, but they're definitely there, and that's just another really important reason for it, is to becoming and making it part of your habit as well.
Yeah, no, you're right there too, and you're so correct. Where it's hard to communicate to people the feelings that you get from regularly training, but all you have to do, if you were to have a week off, I dare say you wouldn't really be feeling as good as you do when you are exercising, unless you're on a beautiful holiday or something. But it's one of those things that I'm glad it's getting spoken about more, because in times gone by it was sort of something that was very hush hush, but especially in the last couple of years, there are a lot of people coming out, celebrities and famous people, who talk about the importance of mental health, and that can often encourage other people to talk about it. And I think exercise is just one of those things that if we do it, it doesn't have to be every day, but if we're doing it a couple of times a week, gets you out of the house, it gets you out in the fresh air, you're exercising, you're sweating, you're having fun, you're having a laugh, and that can make such a difference for people when they get to the end of the day or get to the end of the week. And if they've accomplished a few of those positive things through the week, then it makes all the difference. So
absolutely
appreciate you bringing that up. But thank you for taking the time, Edwina.
Thank you.
Really nice to catch up. I'll let you get home to hopefully a beautiful cooked dinner now that you've been in the office late. But looking forward to you extending that 400 visit number. We'll be at 500 within the next probably 4 or 5 months, I'd say. So that'll be
possibly especially if you start those Saturday sessions again.
They will be back in the new year, so you'll be full at a gate.
All right. Terrific.
Thanks again, Edwina. Have a good night.
All right.
See you
too. See ya. Bye.